Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, fired up here with us for the next couple of hours. We are loaded over the course of those 2 hours. Got Glen West coming up over the next in 30 minutes. Got Sharif Ishak at the bottom of hour number 2. It has been a wild day down at the Saints facilities, cuts, trades, lots of things going on down there in Metairie, so we'll talk Sharif about it at the bottom of the hour. I've got some thoughts in 15 minutes as well. I want to talk about Cade Klubnik. We'll do that at 2 o'clock, kind of get a feel for the Clemson starting quarterback that LSU will face coming up on Saturday night in Clemson. So lots and lots to do. So let's start things the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So I went on a mission starting back on Saturday morning into Sunday evening, and then again last night, and continued this morning where I wrote the story for LouisianaSports.net, digging into the last 2 season opening losses. I realized that LSU has lost 5 straight openers. I don't know that there's a lot I'm going to take from KJ Costello setting a Mississippi State and SEC passing record in front of literal stick figures in a COVID end zone with Ed Ogeron as the head coach back 5 years ago. I don't think that applies much to what we're going to see on Saturday. I don't know that the UCLA game carries a lot of weight either. And honestly, I kind of eliminate the first Florida State game in New Orleans because that was a completely new football program that LSU was debuting with all new coaches and tons of new players and a new quarterback, and they played valiantly and they fought back and they should have tied the game. And yeah, it's not great to have 2 kicks blocked, a field goal and an extra point, and not get into overtime, and they lose the game. But I don't know that there are a lot of strong comparisons you can take between that game and this one. But LSU should have been prepared to go to Orlando to play Florida State. They should have been prepared to go to Las Vegas and play USC, and you lost both of those games. So I feel like I was going to go, okay, well, what's similar? Clearly, the team 2 years ago had Jaden Daniels and had Malik Neighbors and had Brian Thomas, but had that awful defense. The team last year had a new quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier making his first regular season start, and you had a new defensive coordinator. But, you have the program in place for those 2 games, and you failed. Was there anything I could dive into and suggest, okay, that carries over? They've got to be better at this right out of the gate. And I came up with 3 things, and I put them up on the website. You can read a little bit more in depth at LouisianaSports.net, but I'll get into them. The first thing is passing defense. Jordan Travis and Miller Moss annihilated LSU in both of those games. Those 2 combined to complete 50 of 67 passes. That is 75% completion for 720 yards and 5 touchdowns against 1 interception. Deuce Chestnut had a pick at the line of scrimmage against Jordan Travis, and that's the only pick, really the only play that LSU's made on the ball. 75% completion for those 2 guys for 720 yards. That's 360 a pop for those 2 guys. That's just not even putting up a fight. And we know that 2 years ago, LSU's defense was atrocious. LSU finished 118th out of 133 FBS teams in passing defense. They were terrible. They were terrible that night in Orlando. They were terrible all year. Last year, USC was a quality passing offense. They were 10th in the country in passing offense. Moss missed some time due to injury, but that was his season high against LSU in passing yards. Season high. LSU finished 10th in the SEC in passing defense, 12th in the SEC in completion percentage allowed. So that was a huge, huge problem in those two games. And it's not like you're getting a huge reprieve on Saturday. You got Cade Klubnik, who's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I'll do a whole breakdown on him at the top of the next hour, but you understand that you've got three great wide receivers in Antonio Williams, Bryant Wesco Jr., and TJ Moore, who had great years last year, and a really good quarterback on their home field. Like, you've got to cover. And the good news that I can give you, the LSU fan, is I've been out to practice. 2 years ago, they didn't cover a soul in fall camp. Nobody. Not surprising. 2 first-round wide receivers, a Heisman Trophy quarterback, and a bad defense. That's going to be a one-sided camp. Last year, they didn't really cover anybody last year either. I came on here, said as much. Said, I'm concerned. I don't think they can cover. I watched fall camp this year. They covered a little bit. Ashton Stamps, a little stickier. P.J. Woodland made some plays on the ball. Mansour Delane had some interceptions to his name in camp. And the safety play is way better. So, yeah, it's a big challenge. But they should be better this time around than they have been the last 2 years, where they have put up no resistance through the air. So that's one thing. This stat jarred me a little bit. I didn't recall it this bad, but it is. Do you realize that LSU against Florida State in Orlando and against USC in Vegas has been outscored in the second half 52-13? 52-13 after halftime. Florida State went on a 31-0 run, and USC won the second half 21-6. I mean, that's just getting your butt kicked every which way. That's not just on the defense. That's not just on the offense. That's not just on special teams. That is a complete failure across the board by everyone to get completely outclassed 52-13 with the Heisman Trophy winner and 2 first-round receivers on one side of the ball 2 years ago. And then last year with a quality team that LSU had. It wasn't a great team. It was a quality team. USC wasn't that good last year. It was a fine team. They were fine. They were a middle-of-the-road Big Ten team. And they crushed you in the second half. Jordan Travis threw 1 incompletion in the second half. He threw 2 touchdowns, 1 incompletion. Miller Moss threw for 202 yards in the second half last year. So what happened? Like, how did you get annihilated 52-13 over the course of 4 quarters? Well, I went back and looked at it, and I remember this. Against Florida State, LSU couldn't stop Florida State. That was one thing. So the defense failed. Offensively, you had a crucial drop by Kyron Lacey on a 3rd down that stalled a drive. He was beyond the sticks, easy first down. He dropped it. And then you had Malik Neighbors fall down on a pass that Jaden Daniels then threw, and it was picked off. And because you had those 2 possessions stall quickly, Florida State won the time of possession in the second half, 19.5 minutes to 10.5 minutes. It was 2-1. With that defense on the field, you were never going to be able to do anything. Against USC, LSU's offense just couldn't sustain anything. They had 1 really good drive. They went 78 yards for a touchdown. But the other drives in the second half, 3 and out, a 3 and out, a 5-play punt, and then a 9-play drive that you stalled in the red zone for a field goal. The 5th possession there was the last of the game. You had like 8 seconds, and you threw an interception that was desperation anyway. But your offense just kind of sputtered. And because you weren't getting stops specifically through the air with your pass defense, you got nothing out of it. LSU, outside of that great 1 touchdown drive against USC in the second half, ran 21 plays for 25 yards. So what I'm writing in this LouisianaSports.net thing and what I'm telling you here is it wasn't as if LSU was not in any way prepared to play or ready to play in the opener. You're talking about a situation where you were leading 14-7 with just over a minute to play before halftime against Florida State. Like, you had a 7-point lead with a minute and 5 seconds to go in the half. Like, you showed up, and then they crushed you in the second half. You were tied with USC after the end of the first quarter. You were tied with USC at halftime. You were leading USC at the end of the third quarter, and then crushed. So I don't know if it's lack of adjustments. I don't know if it's the other team figuring out what you're doing. I don't know if it's lack of late game execution. I don't know. I'm not in the huddle. I don't know what the play calls are. I can't dive any deeper than that. But I can tell you that after halftime, you're getting crushed. And that's uncomfortable. So that's two things. Your pass defense has been terrible, and your second halves have been abysmal. What's the third thing? Well, this one you know. If you've paid any attention, you realize what has happened to LSU on their first drive of the last two seasons. And this is a parallel. They have gone on long drives against Florida State and Orlando and against USC and Vegas, and then gotten inside the 5-yard line and had 4th and goal and gotten turned away. They're not taking points. In Orlando, the first play of the year for LSU offensively, dump off to Trey Bradford. He books it down the left sideline. You're in business. You're in the red zone. They drive it down inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line, 4th and goal, can't get it. Nothing. You get no points. Fast forward a year, 74-yard drive. They're hitting Lacey on the sideline. Nussmeier looks good, running the ball a little bit. Boom, you get down inside the 5-yard line, go for a 4th and goal, come away with nothing. LSU has had 3 red zone possessions in these 2 games that have resulted in 0 total points. For reference on that, last season, Vanderbilt had 3. In the year, Vanderbilt had 3. Missouri had 5. Red zone possessions where you get no points are killers. And here's why they're not getting points when they get down there. Is because that offensive line for 2 years was terrible in short yardage. They were terrible in short. They did not run the ball when teams knew LSU was going to run it. And when you got down there into tight quarters and they could bring all 11 guys down in there into the box, you couldn't get a push. Now, those guys are gone. You don't have those guys. But I would suggest it's a reasonable expectation. When we've broken down this game, I've done 3 different Clemson radio hits, and I'm listening to Locked On Clemson and listening to national talking heads talk about the game. I mean, I'm into this game now. Like, I've heard a lot of people break it down. And a consensus, whether it's right or wrong, a consensus, which is everyone's belief, is that Clemson has an advantage with their defensive line, with Woods and Parker and those guys against LSU's revamped offensive line. That is the perception. And I think it's a realistic perception. Could LSU come out and knock them in the mouth? Sure, they could. We'll see. But the perception is that LSU's weaker at the offensive line than Clemson is defensive line. And understanding that is a very real potential. Don't play into it. Don't get down there inside the 5-yard line. Don't get to the 4th and goal from the 4 and decide, hey, we're going to knock somebody out of the way. No. Don't play into their hands. Take some points. Take some points early in the game, especially on the road. If you've got one of the best offensive lines in college football and a Heisman Trophy running back, yeah, get behind them and knock somebody out of the way and go score. That's not something LSU can bank on, in my estimation, right now. Maybe you will run the ball, but I'm not uber confident that you're just going to be able to flex your muscles on Clemson's defensive line. So don't play directly into that in crucial spots in the game. You don't get in on 3rd down, take some points. Points are good. And LSU has, in back-to-back openers, crushed its momentum by getting down there and failing to get any points at all. So these are the 3 things that stand out most to me. You've got to cover better. I think LSU will cover much better this year. It's a big challenge, but I think they'll cover better this year. You've got to play better in the second half. I don't have a solution for that, but figure something out. And then don't be hard-headed. Don't force the issue. Take some points when they're there. Ease into the game. Those are 3 things that I'm looking at that are very much parallels in the last 2 opening losses. Now you go on the road, try to take care of this. It's your only shot. That's our opening drive. Presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge. Big day down there in Metairie. Saints making a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. They've also made a couple of high-profile cuts. We'll talk about all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Our Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. He's a licensed realtor in Louisiana or Mississippi. If you're here in the hustle and bustle in the city and you're looking to maybe find some land outside of the rat race, Maybe it's in St. Francisville, maybe up there in Point Capee, maybe it's in the Felicianas, maybe up in Woodville, Mississippi, up to Natchez. You're looking for a hunting property, an agriculture property, or just a second home or a primary residence out of the city. Daryl May can help you out with that. He's got access to the most premier listings in Louisiana and Mississippi, and he can help you out in getting that land you've always dreamed about. Call Daryl. Got his cell phone right here. It's 225. He's Baton Rouge born and raised, who's now made his home in St. Francisville. He knows what you're looking for. 225-268-6915 is the number. Again, that's 225-268-6915. You're looking for land, whether it's hunting, which hunting season's coming up, agriculture, that second home. Daryl May Trusty Properties is a name you can trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, we'll chat with Glen West, Go 24/7, coming up in 10 minutes. We'll talk some Tigers with Glenn as they get ready for Clemson. I got to talk about Cade Klubnik a little bit later as well as LSU gets prepared for him. But busy time right now in all the operations buildings for the NFL. Cut days the last couple of days, some trades going through, teams trying to set their first roster. As we know, it's ever evolving in the National Football League. So to try to take all of the Saints news today and jam it into 15 minutes right here would be very difficult. I'm going to hit some high points. Let's start with a couple of guys who are on the way out. We'll get to one that's on the way in, one that I think is on the way back, but we'll start with the couple that are on the way out. Isaiah Foskey was cut by the Saints today. That's a second-round draft choice, all-time leader in sacks in Notre Dame history, who you brought in, and it was very evident to everyone who was watching practice that he was a long way away from helping the New Orleans Saints, and he never really got any closer. The Saints have had Cam Jordan at one end. He's been a model of durability. Carl Granderson has emerged, but they've had some significant misses with Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport, and then, of course, now Isaiah Foskey, where they've tried to address this all-important position of edge rusher and defensive end, and they've had just some absolute whiffs at the top of the draft. And Isaiah Foskey goes right there with all of them. This is not, some sort of crippling blow to the Saints to give up on Foskey today. Everyone has known what Foskey's situation was really for well over a year. What can't happen in the future is that guy being drafted again. You've got to hit on these early round draft choices, and Foskey is just a whiff. So no sense in spending a lot of time on it. Saints have got some guys on the edge that have some potential and some skins on the wall, and they'll be okay there. But Foskey, they gave him every opportunity. He played a ton of preseason snaps and just never showed up doing anything. So Isaiah Foskey moves on. He will no longer be with the New Orleans Saints. And same goes for Jake Haener. This was a bit of a surprise. The Saints did not, in the offseason, go out and address with a veteran quarterback. They had Jake Haener on the roster. Spencer Rattler returned. And then you draft Tyler Shuck. And the thought was, okay, do they go get Teddy Bridgewater? Is Joe Flacco available? Do they go find someone like that, Carson Wentz, who can be a veteran in the room that may not be a starter, but can, if you need him to, and can teach the quarterbacks how to go about their business? And they didn't do that. So now you look up, and there are two quarterbacks left. You've got Shuck. You've got Rattler. Haener is being cut. He'll try to find employment somewhere else. Now they've got to go get a quarterback. Ben DiNucci is available. That's a guy they've looked at in the past. They've got to find somebody because you clearly can't go forward without other bodies at the quarterback position that are capable. And so Haener, to me, this is one of those deals. Y'all have heard me the last 2 weeks say I don't need Haener to get any reps. I've seen enough of Jake Haener. He's a backup at best in the NFL. He's a camp arm at worst. He's been there for camp as a camp arm. Now he's moving on. But they need the other two guys to develop. And to this point, they've given those guys the lion's share of the reps. Every rep I thought Haener got was just one that Shuck and Rattler couldn't get. And I would have given him very little over the course of camp. Sounds unfair. It sounds harsh. This is the NFL. Get over it. So I have no ill will at all towards Jake Haener. I just know he's not the Saints quarterback of the future. That's even more apparent today as they let him go. So we'll see where he lands. But the Saints have got to go out now and address the quarterback position for sure. We'll see what they do over the course of the next week. Now, they did make a trade, and this is one that was essentially out of necessity. The Saints have made a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to acquire Asim Richards. Richards has spent 2 years with the Cowboys. He's an offensive tackle who's played offensive guard as well. He was a 3-year starter at North Carolina as the left tackle. In 2020, he was a sophomore named the full-time left tackle, part of an offensive line that had that did not come out. Josiah Ezadu and Marcus McKeithen. He blocked for Sam Howell, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. And he played at left tackle for 3 seasons, ended up blocking for Drake May his last year in 2022. So you're talking about a guy who started a total of 11, 24, 38 games at left tackle for North Carolina. And then he went to the Senior Bowl and became a 5th-round draft choice of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Saints did give up a draft pick, a 6th-rounder in 2028, so way down the line. And I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but what are you going to do? You're looking up right now. Trevor Penning has missed much of camp. Will Clapp is done for the year. Landon Young is probably going to have to go on IR. He was carted off. Taliese Fuaga is dealing with a knee injury. That's 4 guys, not like 4 guys on the whole roster. 4 guys you were counting on to help you on the offensive line. And Penning is banged up. Clapp's done. Young was on the cart the last time I saw him, and Fuaga has got knees that are bothering him. So, you need offensive linemen. And it's very difficult to go find offensive linemen off the street. You can find a running back. You can find a corner. You can find a wideout. 6'1" guys who can run are a dime a dozen. 330-pound guys that can move and know what they're doing are not a dime a dozen. They're hard to find. So if you're you have to have one. You don't have enough bodies out there. You had 2 tackles healthy as of 2 days ago. So they've got to make a move. You've got to give up an asset to get an asset. I'm not suggesting that they found the answer to their offensive line problems in Asim Richards. What I am suggesting is you can't just stand pat with no offensive line depth. So you worry about your 2028 draft choice that you don't have anymore when you get to 2028, right? If you're the Cowboys, you figure Richards is a depth piece at best. Okay, I'll go ahead and take my draft pick for him. I'm okay at offensive line. The Saints still probably have to do some window shopping here with the players that are becoming available today. Get your scouts deep into those notes and find somebody else to bring in that's been let go from another organization, because you just have to have offensive line depth. Newsflash: it's August 26th. Saints offensive linemen are not done getting hurt between now and Christmas. Somebody else is going to get banged up. So you need depth. And you got to give up an asset to get him. And if you're going to give up an asset, a 6th-round pick, 3 years from now, I'll live. Richards has split his time in the NFL between pass blocking and run blocking to this point. I mean, obviously. Between tackle and guard at this point. Had my brain already going forward towards pass blocking and run blocking. He's 24 years old. He's 6'4", 307. He's a depth piece. I don't think he's a starter. But if you need somebody to check in, he can definitely do that. So that's a move the Saints have made to this point. I'm good with it. Last thing I want to talk about here in the Saints segment, player on his way out that could be back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was waived today, but he does not have to clear waivers because he's a vested NFL veteran. So you're talking about a guy who the Saints could have a handshake agreement. Hey, we're going to cut you right now, but stay right here because we're going to make these moves, and then we'll bring you back either practice squad or to the active roster because we're doing this and this. There is a game to this that is beyond the depth to which I understand fully, and certainly I'm not going to go into live on the radio. But I do understand that you make some moves here and there based on the options that players have. You understand what moves are coming in the next 24, 48 hours, and you have relationships with players, and you shoot them straight, and sometimes they are welcome back, sometimes they're not. They may have told Clyde, hey, man, great job in camp. You did a good job. We appreciate you helping us out, but these are the guys we're going to go with. If you want to look elsewhere, please do. They may have said, hey, we're going to let you go today. Stay right here. We're going to bring you back onto the practice squad, and we have plans to use you as this and this happens. I don't know what the plan is for Clyde. I thought he had a pretty good camp. The reports from practices were good. I thought he showed some things in the game, especially from a pass protection perspective, that he's certainly capable. I never thought Akers was going to make the team, and you knew that Kendre Miller had kind of surged to that top spot. But I felt like Clyde had a pretty good chance to make the team. We'll see what that chance is now that they put him on waivers. I mean, not waivers. They've cut him. But I think there's a chance that Clyde could come back, and Ross has thought that as well. If you're looking for the Saints news of the day, looking to try to stay up on the cuts and the acquisitions and the trades and everything that's going on, Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net has got you covered. He's at the Saints facility, been there for the early afternoon, was writing all morning. So everything that you're looking for is on a roster cuts tracker and then on the updates on the news feed as things happen. So go check that out for free at LouisianaSports.net. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, Glen West, Go 24/7. We'll talk Tigers and Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You know, one of the cool things about buying a new vehicle is you get to see all the features, get to test everything out, get the explanation of how everything works in your new rig. Well, a lot of times in South Louisiana, especially this time of year, you're doing that in the parking lot where it's 9,000 degrees. Not very comfortable. That's not the case at Genesis because they think about details. They think about customer experience all the time. So as part of their new dealership, they've got a climate-controlled area that they bring the car into. It's right there off the showroom. And you deal with all of the bells and whistles of your brand new Genesis in a comfortable, air-conditioned environment. It's just one of the perks. If they service your vehicle, they've got an amazing place to sit right there that's got you taken care of in terms of snacks. They're all out there for free. An amazing coffee maker there. The ambiance is great. If you'd like to get some work done while your service is being done, they've got secluded little areas that are sectioned off that you can have some privacy and get some work done. They think about everything at Genesis. They've got an amazing line of vehicles. Their staff is wonderful. But it's also everything that goes around that, from the complimentary valet maintenance to the ambiance in the showroom. It's all fantastic. Go by and see them. Airline at Piku. You can see the entire inventory at genesisbatonrouge.com. It's genesisofbatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Chugging right along here on this Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. We'll talk a little Cade Klubnik coming up in 25 minutes. LSU and Clemson, 6:30 Central from, I always want to say Death Valley, and then I realized that if I say that,
Memorial Stadium, right? Memorial Stadium.
I got asked on Clemson, it was Greenville radio yesterday, if this was the battle for Death Valley, and I was like, I just don't care.
Sure it is.
I just don't care. I don't think the loser of the game will rename their stadium.
No, they have to. Yeah, they have to change the name.
Feels like it's unlikely.
I don't think Death Valley is an official name for either of the stadiums.
It is not. It is not. So I just feel like probably a bit of a manufactured line.
Yes.
And quite frankly, they played a more important game 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So is what it is. Glen West will be there. Senior writer over at Go247 joins us on Tuesdays. Glenn, how we doing?
Doing great, Hunt. Thanks for having me on. Excited about game week.
Yeah, it is. I was figuring out kind of where I wanted to go with you here, and I want to talk about the offense first. If I just tossed you an open-ended question and said, what do you think the identity of this offense is going to be? What would you say?
I would probably lean towards it being a more of a pass-heavy offense again this year. I mean, I do think that they are working to try to run the ball a little bit more efficiently and be a little bit better in that department. But the amount of weapons that they have in the passing game is crazy. I mean, I was doing our deep kind of breakdown of LSU-Clemson this morning, and it's just like there's like 6 or 7 guys that you can go to before you even kind of say, well, maybe this guy won't be as involved in the passing game. Like there's legitimately 6 or 7 players that I think could contribute for LSU as early as week 1. And I just think that's a very unique position to be in as an offense. And the big question, though, is just, can Nussmeier have enough time to get the ball to those playmakers? I think a big part of this game plan this week is going to be about getting the ball out quickly to those guys and letting them go make some plays, because I do think that LSU's receivers probably have a little bit of an advantage just looking at kind of the who they're going to be matched up against in the Clemson secondary. So I think this identity of this offense is going to come back to the passing game and Garrett Nussmeier's arm at the end of the day. But you hope that they can complement it a little bit more with some consistency in the run game as well.
They were incredibly efficient. They led the conference in completions last year. They were great on third down, but a lot of it was short and intermediate. Do you think it looks like that again this year? Do you think it looks a little bit different this time around?
No, I think maybe early on it could look similar, just because I do think it's going to take a little bit of time for this offensive line to gel and to really kind of figure out what they have up front. But I think long term, like Chris Hilton, Barryon Brown, Xavion Thomas, like they have some really elite deep threats, I think, this year that maybe they didn't have last year. And you saw a little bit of that, right, when Chris Hilton came back and was able to contribute the way that he did in the Oklahoma game and in the Baylor game. And so I do think there's going to be more opportunities to go downfield and get vertical with this offense. But I don't know that it happens week 1 against Clemson. Like I think that they have to be really, really careful with how they approach this first game because of how highly touted that defensive line for Clemson is coming into this thing.
Who do you think the starting offensive line is going to be?
I think Tyree Adams at left tackle, Paul Mubanga at left guard, Braylon Moore at center, Josh Thompson at right guard, and Weston Davis at right tackle is kind of what I've settled on here. I think DJ Chester's a guy that's going to swing, between left guard and maybe play a little bit of, center or right guard. But it sounds like they're going to have a little bit of a rotation on the offensive line. I don't know if that'll be a series by series thing, a quarter by quarter thing. It certainly doesn't seem great if you're doing it play by play, but I do think Cohen Eccles is going to play a little bit and Karius Kern's going to play a little bit. So I'm excited. Like I think there's, the offensive line has not been the strength of this team so far, but I think that they have a chance to really go out there and show, the country that maybe they're a little bit underrated or undervalued here going into the season.
What would you say to someone who says, hey, they're rotating offensive linemen because they don't have 5 guys they trust and they're trying to find it, as opposed to saying, oh, we're trying to keep guys fresh? Like, what do you read into the offensive line rotation?
I think it's definitely more of the former. Like, I think they're still trying to figure out what the best 5 is going to be for them long term. And carrying that into the season, I think in most years is not a problem. But I just think given the opponent here that they're playing on Saturday, and like I said, how highly touted that group is for Clemson coming in, it's not ideal to be in that situation, but it's just the hand that LSU's been dealt here. And, I would much rather rotate guys in than just stick to a 5 that you don't really have, full confidence in. Like, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they rotate those guys in and out, but maybe it works. Maybe it's, something that, they feel like is going to give them the best chance to win the game. And that's certainly what, Brian Kelly seemed to hint at yesterday.
What do you feel like Clemson does well that could give the LSU defense problems?
They just have some really good edge rushers. I mean, I think Parker and Helt on the edge are going to be really stout for them. And look, I think that the pressure that we've seen in fall camp from LSU has started inside out, right? I mean, that's the thing that Brian Kelly talked about several weeks ago. That was most impressive to him about the defensive line and the pressure that they were getting, is that a lot of it's come on the interior. And so, Peter Woods is a guy that I think, fans are going to have to become very familiar with over the next couple of days. But I think just those three, the combination of those three, they have size, they have athleticism, they have talent, and they brought in a new defensive coordinator that I think has really stressed the run game for most of this offseason, just on what I've researched and just what I've read. But I think that trio in particular is going to be something that's could potentially give LSU some trouble here if they aren't on their P's and Q's and aren't playing at their ultimate best for week one standards on that offensive line.
Flip sides of the ball, what does Clemson offensively do that could give LSU's defense some trouble?
I think probably that the passing game is going to be what LSU maybe wants to steer them towards. Like I think that Clemson's run game, I mean, I believe Adam Randall is going to be their starting running back. It sounds like that's been the transition they've been working towards all offseason, but he hasn't really been a running back at all in his career. He's just somebody that, just listening to Dabo Swinney talk, just is really good with the ball in his hands. And so they've really transitioned him into a running back after being a receiver for a couple of years. And so Klubnik obviously has some running ability. That was something that Brian Kelly talked about on Monday with reporters, and that's something that they're going to have to run fit. But I have a lot of confidence in this front seven, honestly, going into this thing, that they're going to be able to hold the run game. It's just going to be about, can everybody in all 11 be working together, and that's in the passing game, and the pressure that they could create up front. Can those cornerbacks and safeties that we've been seeing, I think, stick with LSU's receivers when they're getting the ball out quickly? I think that's been a common theme, is that they have been able to at least be around the ball and be, kind of in the play and have opportunities to make plays. Like, I think that's the best way for LSU to have success in this thing, and is to shut down the run early, not let them get going on the ground, and allowing those playmakers in the back half of your secondary to go out there and try to get them off the field.
Do you think LSU would rather play a 20-17 game or a 38-35 game?
I think 20-17. I mean, that's kind of my prediction. That was my game prediction on the mark going into this thing, was 2017, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game, to be quite honest with you. I think both of these defenses are going to be much improved, and could potentially give the offense some trouble here. I think that for LSU's perspective, the one thing that I think you have to be able to do on Saturday is establish some kind of run game. Like, that's been, I think, kind of a common theme here over their previous three openers, is that the running backs have not really been able to get going. I mean, you had the one long John Emery 61-yard run against USC last year, but outside of that, they've been averaging around 2 or 3 yards a carry with their running backs in these openers. So if they're able to spring Caden Durham loose, I think that just sets up everything for this offense to be at its best, and it will give them the best opportunity to go, get a big win on the road.
This is a big question here, but I'm trying to get out in front of Sunday. Is there a chance that you're going to feel differently about the program on Sunday than you do today, based on 4 quarters of football?
Do you mean like just win or lose, just whatever the result is?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that a loss will necessarily change things yet for me, just because I do think that long term this team is still going to be very good, and that just you're going on the road to a top 5 team where you're not going to be favored. It's tough to win those games, and I think if LSU wins that game, they prove to me that they are not only a playoff contender, but they're a championship contender. And so I think from that perspective, yes, it will change my thoughts on the program and where this thing's going. But a loss, I would probably hold judgment or hold reserves until we got to see them, 5, 6, 7 weeks into this thing, and then we might have a little bit of a cleaner picture. But there's no doubt this is a huge moment in Brian Kelly's tenure here, and just this whole era of LSU football. This is going to be one of those games that I think we look back on in 5-10 years. How did Brian Kelly's tenure go at LSU? I think most people are going to mention the Clemson game as one of their first go-to games.
That's a lot. That's a lot to deal
I know.
with.
And I'm curious. Do you feel the same way? Do you not feel the same way? Like, are you kind of in that same boat?
It's not how I'm wired. It's why I like baseball more, because you just come back and you play the next day. I'm not good at the entire fan base melting down or anointing everything. I just kind of like to stay a little bit even keel, and it's probably not the best thing for listenership on a talk radio show because people want to hear you freak out or go nuts or whatever. I'm just not wired like that. So it's just hard for me to sit here and go, well, they can't beat Clemson on Saturday. They spent $18 million on this team. Burn it down. Fire everybody. What's the buyout? Who's the new coach? Like, that drives me nuts. But I don't think you're wrong. I mean, it's important.
Yeah.
All right. Well, safe travels up there. We'll talk about it next week.
All right. Thanks, Hunt. Appreciate it.
He's Glen West, Go 24/7 team coverage, recruiting coverage. You can find it over there at Go 24/7. He's with us on Tuesdays. Let me dive deeper into that to close out the hour. We'll talk about it when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club right here in Baton Rouge. Golf Club. What are you talking? Well, it is. It's a club. There are membership options available for you if you'd like to become a member of Swing Easy Golf Club and have access to their golf simulators. And book up 7 hours a week included in your membership. If you're not a member, you can still swing by and work on your game or just enjoy some fun on the golf simulator out of the elements of South Louisiana. Right now, it's 900 degrees. In December, it gets dark at 4:45. It rains every afternoon right now as well. If you want to protect yourself from the elements, still want to play some golf, Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. They're on Segan, right there by Perkins. You walk in, 3 amazing bays, comfortable seating, food. I mean, you got their drinks right there, your beer, your wine right there. You can work on your game on the driving range setting. I found that really helpful when I was in there last week, seeing where my club was impacting the ball, looking at your launch angle, looking at your carry distances. And you can also just have some fun. They've got dozens of famous golf courses from around the world plugged in that you can play on the simulator. Bring your friends, hang out, watch a game, or work on your game. It's Swing Easy Golf Club right there on Segan near Perkins. Get on by and see them. It's brand new here in Baton Rouge. You're going to want to check this place out. I'll be there a lot, I can promise you. So go by and see them. It's Swing Easy Golf Club right here in Baton Rouge.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for that land, whether it's 30 acres, 300 acres. In Louisiana, in Mississippi, Daryl May can help you out with that. A lot of folks, that's their dream, to own a lot of land, to live out on it, to hunt it, to grow agriculture on it. If that's the case, and you're not really sure where to start, Daryl May and Trustee Properties can help you out with that. Give Daryl a call. His cell's 225-268-6915. That's 225-268-6915. Daryl May and Trustee Properties. That is a name you can trust. The Saints have a starting quarterback for week 1. It will be Spencer Rattler. I'm not going to shoehorn that segment into 4 minutes here because we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to talk about Spencer Rattler coming up in 10 minutes at the top of the hour. We'll talk about Cade Klubnik in the second segment of the hour, and then we'll go to Sharif Ishak for more reaction on it at the bottom of hour number 2. But Spencer Rattler will be the starter for the Saints. If you were listening in the last segment, I was talking to Glen West. It's just about the circumstances and the weight of this game on Saturday for LSU. And it is my nature not to overreact. It is my nature to say, look, even if they lose, like, it's just one game. You're in a 12-team playoff right now. You've even got one more to play with down the stretch. Now, it's a hard plank to walk, hard tightrope to walk, but it's still doable. But I understand that if LSU loses on Saturday, that I'm going to get a lot of text messages. There will be a lot of folks on Twitter. Tiger droppings will have to shut down because everyone will want to fire everyone on the staff. That's just the way this thing is wired for this sport in this time of year. Baseball, I think everyone's kind of understands you have some bad weekends here or there. Just happens to the best teams LSU's ever had. And we've seen enough LSU teams respond to crappy weekends in baseball, crappy months in baseball, and turn it around that very few people just completely panic. Football's not like that. You got 12 games. Every time you lose one, it's just doomsday. And I'm not wired for that. And I've already had to prepare myself for that possibility on Sunday. Now, look, if they win the game on Sunday, you'll come back as the number 2 or 3 team in the country. You'll have Louisiana Tech coming in for a coronation of this team and a feeling like you've got something special. And I don't have to mentally prepare for that. That's easy. I can run that gamut all day long. That's going to be great. But you got to prepare for the other side in this line of work and understand what we're going to do. And I understand that if I come out here and write a column for LouisianaSports.net on Sunday, Saturday night, and then I come out here on Monday and say, look, everybody just calm down, people are going to go, you're an idiot. That's what's coming. And it's just, I just can't remember a lot of games that felt like this right out of the chute. So it's a big deal. And I have to realize in that big deal that, like, they've sunk $18 million into this roster. You're going to lose upwards of 16, 17 starters off this team entering next year. Your quarterback will be gone, and I don't think you have the next one on the roster. Plus, your schedule next year might include Texas, might include Alabama, might include Georgia, Clemson. Like, it's a nightmare to look at the schedule for next year, potentially. So, like, you might have 2 years worth of hope wrapped up into 4 hours on the road against maybe the most talented team in the country. Like, that is some heavy stuff we're talking about here. And there's a part of everybody that goes, man, how exciting is this? I cannot wait to watch this. And there's a part that goes, this goes wrong, man. We got some problems. And that's just a lot. It's a lot. And it's my job to compartmentalize it, but also not to undersell it, right? You don't want to downplay this thing completely and suggest it's not a big deal. It's a big freaking deal. There's a lot that's been pushed to the front for this team. Now, I don't want to try to put LSU and Ole Miss in the same bucket when it comes to competing for championships in college football, because one's a perennial power that has 3 national championships in the last 22 years and has played for another one and has gotten to Atlanta multiple times, and the other one has never been to Atlanta and has never won a national championship since the 50s. But you realize what they were doing last year, what they felt about themselves last year, and when that group leaves, what the expectation is this year. They're not supposed to be as good. Feels like you might have 2 years worth of hope tied up in this thing. So we'll see. It's a heavy question. I'm glad I asked Glenn that. I thought his answer was good. We'll see. We'll talk some LSU-Clemson in the second hour, but after we pause for national headlines in Sports Center, let's talk about the Saints naming a starting quarterback. I'm sure you'll hear about that in Sports Center. We're back on the other side on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. The Saints named Spencer Rattler their starting quarterback for the September 7th season opener against the Cardinals. 1 hour to go for NFL teams to trim down to their 53-man rosters. Among today's moves, the Browns released receiver Deontay Johnson. Packers cut three-time Super Bowl champ receiver kick returner Mecole Hardman and former first-round pick linebacker Isaiah Simmons. 9 days before the NFL season kicks off, still no resolution in the contract standoff between the Cowboys and edge rusher Micah Parsons. They've not talked. There's been no practice for Micah amid a hold-in. And despite all that, quarterback Dak Prescott still is confident Parsons will be available September 4th. If he plays, one thing is guaranteed, courtesy of new Eagles OC Kevin Patullo, predicts ESPN NFL insider Mike Tannenbaum.
I promise you, on his whiteboard is test the conditioning of number 11, meaning if Micah Parsons does play, I promise you, they will go no huddle and see what kind of shape he's in.
The 2026 Major League Baseball season will start off with the Giants and Yankees March 25th, earliest opening day other than international games.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday, Caleb Williams has his new head coach. But how patient will Bears fans be with Caleb this season? It's on Sportsman like 6 a.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN 2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Sharif Ishak from New Orleans coming up in 30 minutes. The Black and Gold have a starting quarterback. If you missed it at the end of the hour, we'll go ahead and re-break the news story. Spencer Rattler going to be the Saints starter in Week 1 against the Cardinals. Not a surprising decision to me. Let's restate the timeline here. Derek Carr decides to retire pre-draft. Saints go into the draft essentially with Rattler, Haener. Are they going to take a quarterback? Maybe at 9, maybe not. Maybe at the top of the second round, maybe not. Where are they in evaluating that position? We weren't sure. And then right there in the second round, you take Tyler Shough. And I think 15 years ago, you take a quarterback not in the first round, kind of the thought is, well, we'll see what you got in camp and be the backup and maybe get some time in October, November, maybe not. You'll see. But that generally comes with a veteran starting quarterback in place. And the Saints never signed one of those. So to me, as I looked at it, and I was looking at OTAs and minicamp, and I'm going, they're just going to go to training camp with Shough and Rattler. This is not a coaching staff that drafted Rattler. He didn't blow anybody away with what he did in his rookie season. And trust me, I'm well aware of the adverse circumstances that Spencer Rattler was working with, okay? Kamara had broken ribs and was missing time, and Olave and Shaheed were out, and the offensive line was a complete mash unit, and then the coach got fired, and yeah, that's a disaster. I don't expect Spencer Rattler to go out there and look at an MVP when everything around him's burning to the ground. But you get the point, it wasn't an awesome rookie year for him. And I just kind of looked at it and went, Shough's going to be the guy. They're going to force him in there in training camp. They're going to get him reps, and they're going to sink or swim with him right out of the gate. You don't know how Kellen Moore's going to handle a quarterback. He's never been a head coach before. But that was my feeling. And then you kind of watched how the reps were divvied up, and you realized that Rattler was getting a little more run with the first team and certainly a lot more run against the first team. And that suggested to me, okay, right now they're leaning towards the more experienced player. I stopped before I say older because we understand how old Shough is. But the more experienced player who's been in the league an extra year. And that's kind of how I felt. They started Rattler in the first preseason game. started Shuck in the second preseason game. They gave Rattler an opportunity in the third preseason game to start and have the complement of players around him that were available from a starting perspective. And we talked about this on Monday. Like, none of it was super exciting from Rattler or Shuck. Like, none of it was earth-shattering stuff in the preseason or even in camp. And I just felt like with issues on the offensive line, they would go with a guy that is, they're comparable athletes. Rattler's thrives a little bit more off schedule, under duress. He's just better at that. He's seen a little bit more. And I think that he gives you a better chance from that perspective. And then something that I've continued to kind of go back to, that, you know, it's easier to go from Rattler to Shuck than to go from Shuck to Rattler. Because to quote-unquote bench a guy who is in his first year, who you kind of felt like if you named him the starter, you were handing the keys of the organization for however long that is, 12 years or 12 months. Taking those keys away pretty quickly feels rough. So maybe you give it to Rattler, who's kind of been fighting his whole career to find a spot, to beat out Haener, to beat out Taysom, to be the starter post-Carr. He's kind of been in this battle the whole time. He's been there longer. So I'm not surprised by this at all, and I think it's the right move. I think the Saints made the right move going with Rattler. Now, that's the past. Here's the present, and now what is the future? Okay? This has been my thought on this since Derek Carr retired. It is unlikely, to me, that the quarterback of the next great Saints team is currently on the roster. That's unlikely to me. It is not impossible. It is unlikely to me. That's simply based on math. That's simply based on the fact that most quarterbacks can't get the job done as a franchise quarterback. Most can't. They wash out. Early draft picks bust a lot. Mid-round draft picks rarely hit. And a good majority of the league annually is either in purgatory with the quarterback or in complete search for a quarterback. You're either where the Saints are, where you're completely in the wilderness looking, or you're in where the Cardinals are, where they're just, we got this guy. Is he great? No, but it is what it is. And so you find yourself right now searching, and that search can take a long time. And I feel like it's unlikely that either one of these guys are the starter, but it's possible. And I don't want to rush Tyler Shuck to the field until he's ready and until I feel like it's the best time for him. I think there's a better chance Tyler Shuck is the franchise quarterback on this team than Spencer Rattler. That may be unfair to Spencer based on the situation he was in last year that I just mentioned. But guess what? The one this year is not exponentially better. Hopefully the offensive line stays healthier. That would be one check. Hopefully Kellen Moore is just better with quarterbacks than what you had last year with Kubiak. Maybe that's a check. He's a year older. That's a check. And maybe all those things equate to better performance. But until I see something significant from Spencer Rattler, something significant, not 1 week, 3 weeks, I'm going to feel like just sitting in the background, Shuck's got the best chance because right now he's all upside. We've seen more of Rattler. So the upside there is greater with Shuck. And I think I'd be a little bit disappointed if Shuck didn't get an opportunity before Thanksgiving. That's kind of where I am with this. Now, that may mean that Rattler doesn't play well. It may mean they just want to get a look. Because even if Rattler's playing decent, if you're 2-9, like, get another look, right? So I feel like the main thing here is that you've gotten a pretty good evaluation on both of them, but maybe more importantly, Shuck, by the end of the season. Now, that doesn't have to come in September. It does not. It can come in October. It can definitely come in November and December. But I'd like to look at them both and use this year as one where you're trying to identify a quarterback. And if it goes off the rails and you're 2-15 and you draft second or first next year, we'll have a different discussion. But right now, my take on this is they've handled it very well in the preseason, given both guys ample opportunities. I think they've chosen the right guy for now. I want the season to play out, and I want to get both guys reps, and I want certainly Shuck to get some time as a starter this year. Unless Rattler just lights it on fire. It's the only way. If he's just awesome and you're winning a bunch of games and he's playing great, then yeah, leave Shuck on the sideline. But if it's middling or not good, get Shuck some time and then reevaluate things when this comes around at the end of January. I think today is a positive thing for the Saints. I'm curious. I wouldn't go as far as to say excited. I'm curious to see how it works out. I'm hopeful that there's a time at some point in the next 10 weeks from now that Shuck gets an opportunity. We'll see. That's the news from Saints land today. Spencer Rattler, the starting quarterback for the Black and Gold, as they get ready for the opener in a week and a half against the Cardinals. All right, we'll talk Sharif about all that when we come back. If you're looking for, not when we come back, at 2:30, we'll talk Sharif. If you're looking for Saints news, you can find it at LouisianaSports.net. Certainly can also find it at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcasts. When we do come back, I do want to continue to talk quarterbacks. I want to talk about the one that LSU is playing on Saturday. What's he like? Where is he from? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? What are my concerns about Saturday? We'll talk about Cade Klubnik when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Give them a shot. You don't buy a car twice a week. Not like the grocery store. So when that time comes, just give Genesis a shot. That may not be this month. May not be this year. But keep them in mind. When you're driving around, notice the Genesis that you see. It's a phenomenal brand of vehicles. They've got everything from the sedan all the way up to that SUV. GV80 is my favorite. But go by and see them when that time comes and you're in the market for a new vehicle. The odds are you haven't driven one. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. That's the model at Genesis. So when you go by and see them, tell them we sent you in. Say, I'd just like to get behind the wheel. And I, again, suggest you go see a Maryland at Piku. But if you don't have time, or that's a little bit out of your way, they can come to you. They can do valet test drives. They can come to your office, come to your home. If you decide, hey, this is what I want to go with, they'll bring the car to you. E-contract, delivery, right there. You never have to set foot on the lot. I always suggest you do. It's an amazing place. But just make sure you put them on your list the next time you're in the market for a vehicle. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Big one coming up on Saturday night, 6:30 kickoff. Well, I say that 6:30 broadcast time. They're not kicking off until 6:51 Central Time. So keep that in mind for Saturday if you're going somewhere, hosting a party. They're not going to kick off at 6:30. Kickoff is significantly beyond that. 6:51, 6:52 was the time that I got yesterday from LSU. So a little bit later than we will see on the schedules as the week moves forward. Under center, two of the best quarterbacks in college football in that game on Saturday. Garrett Nussmeier now wearing number 18 for the Tigers, and of course Cade Klubnik for Clemson. And I wanted to kind of do a dive on Klubnik. Watched a lot of the highlights of his time at Clemson. Did some reading about him. I've as I mentioned, done a couple of radio hits in South Carolina, and just kind of getting a feel for what LSU's getting in for. Last year at this time, we were talking about Miller Moss and how he threw for a bunch of yards in the Holiday Bowl, but he was a first-time starter. They were moving on from Caleb Williams. And now you're dealing with the guy who could be a Heisman Trophy candidate this year. And Klubnik had massive, massive expectations put on him the second he set foot on campus at Clemson. You're talking about a guy that was a five-star quarterback by 24/7, five-star by Rivals. He was a number one quarterback in the nation by ESPN and Rivals. He was at Westlake High School in Austin. That should sound familiar to you. A lot of really good athletes have come out of Westlake. Drew Brees is a Westlake product. Nick Foles is a Westlake product, Super Bowl MVP. Sam Ehlinger, who was a solid quarterback for Texas, played at Westlake as well. Justin Tucker, the kicker from the Ravens, was a Westlake product as well. And Klubnik decided to leave Austin and go to Clemson. And when he got there as a true freshman, DJ Uiagalelei was the starting quarterback, but he wasn't playing great. And Klubnik is his five-star, great athlete, freshman. They got him significant playing time. He played in 10 games that year and threw 100 passes. And as a freshman at Clemson, he was the ACC championship game MVP, and he had great numbers in that game. 20 of 24 for 279 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for a score. He became the third freshman MVP of the ACC championship game ever. It was Jameis Winston, Dalvin Cook, both from Florida State, and then Klubnik. But he wasn't the starter that year. He took over as a starter in 2023. And this is something that I was listening to a podcast that Bryce Kuhn and Matthew Bruni did with a Clemson writer. And they were talking about how Klubnik was kind of thought of as bordering on a bust during his sophomore year. Because you go to Clemson, and they watched Deshaun Watson just take over and hit the ground running. And they watched Trevor Lawrence come in and win a national championship, blow Alabama out as a freshman. And so that's now kind of the expectation that, hey, freshmen can come in here and be stars. Like, you're a five-star. Two of the services say you're the number one quarterback in the country. Like, you better show up and be awesome. And he wasn't awesome. He threw for 2,800 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But more importantly, the start was bad. They started 4-4 overall and 2-4 in SEC play in Klubnik's first year as the starter. Like, it was just a mediocre year. And then you go out there after that year where Clemson starts the season 4-4. They're a 4-loss team. They're not competing at the top of the ACC. And then he comes out in the next season and they play Georgia in the Georgia Dome. He goes to 18 of 29 in that game for 142 yards, no touchdowns, throws a pick, loses 17 yards on the ground. And they're like, okay, this guy just doesn't have it. Like, this is DJU all over again. We thought Uyunglele, a 5-star, was going to come in, be the next Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, DJU. Nope. Well, Klubnik's now the next DJU. That's what they thought of Cade Klubnik last year after week 1. But after that game, he completed 64% of his throws. He threw for 291 yards per game. He threw 36 touchdowns against 5 picks. Something clicked in September last year. And when you watch the highlights, from a passing style, I do liken Klubnik and Nussmeier. There's a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage, inside 10, 12 yards. Efficient, getting the ball to playmakers, those guys making big plays, moving the chains, not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of bad mistakes. Like, it's to me a similar type of passing game, but that's where the similarity stops because Klubnik has wheels. He can really run. And to me, when I watch him, the comp that I came up with from an SEC perspective, and it's not perfect, but it's you'll get where I'm coming from. I feel like he plays a little bit like Jackson Dart. They're not 6'5", they're closer to 6'2". They don't have Mettenberger, Jamarcus Russell arm, but they got enough, and they can run when they need to. You turn on the South Carolina tape of Klubnik, and he runs for 2 touchdowns from outside the 15-yard line. That's a good athlete against a really good defensive front. He is a good athlete. And he emphasized the running portion of his game late last season. And I think that was part of unlocking the best Cade Klubnik. Because in the first 7 games, he ran the ball 41 times. 41 times in 7 games. That's a little bit over 6 a game. In the last 6 games, he ran it 63 times. That's almost 11 times per game. So he doubled how often he took off and ran. And that's just an extra feature here. Now, he needed to do that because Phil Maffa, their running back, was basically playing with one arm. Like, he was hurt. So they didn't have a lot of running game outside of Klubnik. And so he did it on his own. And I don't know what Clemson's running game is going to look like this year. Adam Randall's going to be their starter at running back. And he's a converted wide receiver who's really big and physical at 235 pounds, but he's never played the position. Klubnik's going to be a big part of the running game. And y'all remember what LSU did against running quarterbacks last year. It was awful. Lenora Sellers, track meet. Marcel Reed, track meet. Jalen Milroe, track meet. Jackson Arnold got loose a little bit for Oklahoma. Oklahoma couldn't do anything on offense ever. And he got going a little bit on the ground. Scored a touchdown, got down inside the 5-yard line. Like, it wasn't great for Oklahoma, but they did some things on the ground. LSU's got to clean that up. And here's how I think that happens. I think the safeties help. I think the safeties were awful against South Carolina and A&M last year. And they've got to be better against this guy. He's going to complete his passes. You got a guy that threw for 36 touchdowns against 6 interceptions last year total. Like, that's a guy that's going to get his through the air a little bit. Put up a fight against that and then try to take away the ground game. You can't take it away completely. He's going to scramble for 8 yards on a 3rd and 4. Like, he just is. That's going to happen. But don't let him run for 2 touchdowns each from 20 yards out like South Carolina did. Bottom line is, as I started this segment, like, you're facing a great quarterback on Saturday. Miller Moss was a talented guy. We didn't know what he could be. Turns out he ended up transferring from USC. But this is a guy in the college ilk of Jordan Travis, who eviscerated you for 2 years. This is a guy who can throw for 300, can also run for 95 and 2 scores. It's a stern test. And it's a little bit of bad luck. In the way that you would like to catch Clemson with DJ Uiagalelei, you'd like to catch Florida State with DJ Uiagalelei. Instead, You call Florida State the last 2 years of Jordan Travis, you're catching Clemson right here with a really good quarterback. It took him time to progress, but he's kind of found it now. So for LSU, you got to turn up that pass rush with 4 guys. I'm comfortable with LSU in that matchup. I don't know if I would say overly confident because Clemson's got a really veteran offensive line, but LSU will get some pressure. That front 4 will get pressure. Harold Perkins will get pressure. Got to get home. Not going to force as many mistakes from Klubnik. Got to get home. And then if he does tuck it and go, you need your linebackers, the Weeks brothers, Perkins, and certainly the safeties with Halsey and Cooley to come down and make some plays around the line of scrimmage, not to let him get loose. He's a good story. Number 1 quarterback, struggled at the beginning relative to his predecessors outside of DJU, but he's turned it on now, man, and they are confident in Cade Klubnik there at Clemson. And I think most people in the ACC believe Klubnik will have a chair in New York in December. Now, LSU can make that a little bit more difficult if you win that game, but he's that good. And the highlights show that, the statistics show that, the high school rankings show that, and now the mock drafts show that. Good news for LSU, independent of all that conversation on the defense side of the ball, you've got a quarterback who people think may have a chair in New York. You've got a quarterback who was highly thought of in high school. You've got a quarterback who is very high on draft boards. Really good quarterback showdown on Saturday night. Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier. I'm excited to watch it a little bit, but more just petrified and nervous because it's a huge game for LSU. I think most of you understand where I'm coming from that perspective. It's a good one that Clemson's got behind center. All right, our Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties, a licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Looking for that hunting property? Hunting season just around the corner. It's really hot now, but it won't be forever. Wouldn't you want to have your own land? Whether that's in the Felicianas, Point Capee, whether that's up in Mississippi, Woodville, Natchez, anywhere in Mississippi. Daryl's got access to those listings, and he can help you purchase that dream property. Maybe it's for a second home. Maybe it's for a home outside the city. Maybe it's just for hunting. Maybe it's for agriculture. Whatever you want to do with it, it's your land. Daryl's just here to help you find it. Daryl is born and raised in Baton Rouge. He went to Catholic High, spent his life here, decided to move to St. Francisville, wanted some more space. If you find yourself in that frame of mind, Daryl is happy to help you out with that. Call him on his cell. I give you Daryl's cell every single Tuesday. 225-268-6915. 225-268-6915. Say, Daryl, hey, I'm looking for land. He's got you covered. It's Daryl May with Trusty Properties. We'll take a time out. When we come back, Sharif Ishak. The Saints have a quarterback. We're talking about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team are just awesome folks to work with. They're experts when it comes to the coverage aspect of insurance. There's a fairly low barrier to entry to insurance. I got it. And a lot of folks will peddle their policies trying to cut costs. And they'll try to save you 8% here. They'll try to save you 12% here. A lot of times that may come with some coverage cuts as well. If you feel like you may have got the most cost-effective policy that may not protect your business the way it needs to be protected, that's where the Highland Insurance Group comes in. Trust me, they will consider premium. They've got dozens of carriers they're contracted with. They're an independent broker. They understand that the premium is a big, big deal. But they also understand that you need to be covered. The worst thing you can do in insurance is buy a policy for a good amount of money and then have it not respond the way you expect it to when you have a claim. Car accident, cyber attack, hurricane, lawsuit. You want to be covered. The Highland Insurance Group will make sure that you are covered. Reach out, HighlandIG.com. They're based here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. If you're a business, you're looking for another solution for your insurance program, the Highland Insurance Group can absolutely help you with that. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
I want to give a big shout out to longtime friend of mine, Dixon McMakin, Catholic High Bear, voice of the Catholic High Bears. Was reported earlier today, we confirmed over at LouisianaSports.net that Dixon will be the new voice of Tiger Stadium. He'll be the PA announcer in Tiger Stadium for the upcoming football season. Big news for Dixon, for LSU football. I'm excited to get in Tiger Stadium and hear a good friend of mine over the PA in Tiger Stadium. Dan Bornay had an unbelievable 38-year run there. We expect LSU at any point today to announce that Dixon is the new voice of Tiger Stadium. Big deal for a good friend of mine. Let's talk some Saints now. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, down in New Orleans. Ridiculous, about 30 hours down there with the Saints. A lot of things that have happened. So we'll try to cover a good bit of it. Sharif, you keeping up?
I'm trying to at my best. I mean, whenever we were done with the coordinators, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an easy day. Kellen Moore announced it tomorrow, and then 20 minutes later, Kellen Moore's going to talk at 1:45, and I know it's not about the roster, it's about the quarterback.
And we got an announcement. Spencer Rattler is the quarterback. Is that what you expected, and what do you think of the move?
I know I've gone back and forth with you since training camp started, even since OTA started, and what they should do. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I understand where Kellen's coming from. A guy who, played last year. He had his starts, his 6 starts last year, and then, he was progressing throughout a training camp this year, his consistency, and it felt like they saw a lot more after that Jaguars game, and I feel like that's kind of where he became the quarterback, even though I felt maybe it was before that. So, yeah, you put somebody out there in these first 4 games, at least you have somebody with experience and somewhat of a healthy team to start the season, and it gives them a chance to build from there. And I did ask him about the debate of, if he does have a bad game, are you going to go this whole back and forth thing, or you just rally behind him like you did say last week, whoever the starter is? And he said, Doug, there's no debate. We're not going to do this all year. Spencer's the quarterback. So we shall see what happens if things go sideways, if they actually make a change.
Do you think they'll make a change?
I just don't know, man. I mean, if things go sideways, and let's just say it's 3-8, I'm just predicting down the road. If they go 3-8 and they're struggling on offense, quarterback, you got to tell yourself, why not? Things aren't working out. I drafted him, paid him a lot of money. Let's give him a shot. So my gut tells me yes. I do think that at some point you'll see Tyler Shuck if things do indeed go sideways, if the offense is not great.
I would be shocked if Tyler Shuck doesn't start a game. Shocked. That's
shocked
my
to
take.
shock.
I would be shocked if Shuck doesn't start a game.
I'd be shocked and shucked if he doesn't start the game too. I mean, I truly would be surprised if he doesn't get to play. But he did. I think Tyler knows that his development has to improve in these next few weeks, couple months at least. You could tell at times he showed flashes. But there are times where the game looks like it still was a little too fast for him.
Okay, here's a big picture question. What are the chances Spencer Rattler is still the Saints starting quarterback 5 years from now?
No, I don't think so. You could probably ask me if both of them will be the starting quarterback 5 years from now. I would take the bet I'd take is no.
Right.
I really think they have another quarterback by then, because if it doesn't go well this year or maybe next year, maybe you're talking about a Garrett or an Arch as your quarterback in a couple years. So I would take the no on that. If you had to ask me today, just by watching what I've seen so far, I would say no. You're going to be drafting a different quarterback or signing a different quarterback.
So it sounds like you don't think that it's going to go great with Rattler to start, and that they may go to Shuck, and it's just going to kind of be bumpy this year.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to see what it looks like. I know everyone's like, well, everyone says he has to have this. Everything has to be perfect for him to play. Well, I want to give him a chance. I do want to give him a chance. I want to see what it's like when he actually has his offensive line playing, when he does have Chris and Rashid and some of the other weapons out there on the field. I want to at least give him a solid chance before I make that evaluation. But if you had to ask me today, I just don't know how. I don't think it's going to be great. I really don't know how great it's going to be with both of these guys this year. It's a process. It's a rebuild. I just don't know if this team is set up for those quarterbacks to actually be successful right now.
All right, well, let's look at some of the roster moves that the Saints have made. They made a trade with the Cowboys to bring in a depth piece on the offensive line, former fifth-rounder Nassim Richards. Give up a draft pick in 2028. How'd you feel about it?
I mean, they needed some depth on the offensive line. I think that was one of the areas where we said the offensive line is, they're going to need some pieces. I mean, you saw some injuries happen in that finale against the Broncos. I mean, they're just taking a hit after hit after hit. They need depth there. They need depth at tackle. They need depth at guard. So that's not a surprise. I like it. As long as you can, build some depth there, you just can't go into the season without more pieces on that offensive line. I mean, I'd lie to you if I knew a lot about him. I don't know much. I just know he's probably going to get some meaningful reps, knowing how this offensive line continues to get beat up.
Yeah, I mean, he can play guard and tackle. He's a fifth-round pick. He started at left tackle for North Carolina for 3 years. So it's just they just don't have enough guys. That's to your point. I talked about it in the first hour. Too many injuries that you've had so far. So you got to add some depth, and to get assets, you've got to give up assets. So they give away a late-round pick 3 years from now. I'm not too concerned about that. As far as guys from the roster that are moving on, Isaiah Foskey gone, Jake Haener gone, Clyde Edwards-Helaire cut, with obviously the opportunity to bring him back. What'd you make of those three moves?
As expected on the first two moves, I thought maybe the third move, I thought he would have had a chance of sticking on the 53-man roster, but at least bringing him back is a good conversation to have. But Jake and Isaiah, I think it was the writing was on the wall, especially for Isaiah Foskey. I mean, just if you watch some of the game tape in these preseason games, it's getting sucked in a lot. He was getting beat a lot on the edge. It just wasn't there, Hunt. We just say that was a failed pick, and we can all agree to that was a failed second-round pick. So move on from that. Nick, I wouldn't be surprised if he got an invite to be on the practice squad as well. So at least you have, the idea of having Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the practice squad, and if something happens, you have him there. That's if somebody else doesn't snag him up and sign him. So the decisions are right. I think the only one is Clyde, that I thought maybe he's sneaking on that 53-man roster.
Anybody else that was retained or that was let go that surprised you a little bit?
No, I think for the most part, I kind of like the moves, and Torrey Simpkins being there. I like that. I mean, his training camp improved by the week. I mean, I think that his practices and, we talked about the offensive line and players going down along the whole line. I think he certainly took advantage of that opportunity, and he shined. He shined. He did well for the most part in these practices, and even the games, even stepping in there right when Will Clapp got hurt, stepping in and doing a good job there. Having Bayless Jones get a Rajon Wright, that's good. I mean, I think those guys, you're talking about guys who've done a solid job in not only the practices, even in the preseason games, and improving their stock and keeping them on the team. So I do like the right move, because at least he's played in Carolina. He was, here last year. So that's something that's like, you like it. You like those type of moves to be on this squad. I mean, I love that Bayless' speed, man. He's got some speed, and maybe you put him on the kickoff returns or even at running back, wherever you want to line him up at, and just to have speed, because speed kills. You need to have more speed, and I think that's huge in Kellen's offense.
Let's talk about Kendre Miller. I realize he wasn't a roster decision after what he did in camp. He's obviously going to be on the team and very likely the second team back. But what are your thoughts on his immediate future?
I really thought that he's gotten stronger. He stayed healthy. Remember last year at the time, we were talking about 5 minutes into the first training camp practice in Irvine, He got hurt, and he was gone with a hamstring for a long time. He just didn't stay healthy, and he's been healthy. He's been happy. He looks good, and he's running really hard. Even with a busted-up offensive line in some of these preseason games, he's turned some negatives into slight positives. But that's a positive for him in order, to get on the field. So the promise is there. The promise is 100% there. I know we've said that so many times now, but it feels like it's probably coming, to fruition now that he's healthy and he's able to get on the field and practice and play.
Sharif Ishak, our guest, WDSU down in New Orleans, talking all things Saints. What do the next few days look like for New Orleans? Do you expect any more movement on the roster, or you think they're kind of set up to start working on the Cardinals?
Hunt, the one thing I've learned is that there's no such thing as the first 53-man roster. I just call it the initial roster, and it's not the final roster. I truly think this team needs to add some depth along the offensive line. I still think they need to get some more pieces along the offensive line. I wouldn't mind seeing them get another tight end, maybe another receiver. They could desperately use help for the Spencer Rattler being the quarterback. They need to add some more weapons. I mean, if they can do it in either position. I know they got Vele, and they still have some of the tight ends they have, but I still think it wouldn't hurt them to add either a tight end or another receiver. But that's just me. I mean, and it doesn't hurt to have another weapon.
No, we'll see. If it's never over. There's always another move that can be made, and ultimately there's always another move that will be made. Depends on the timing of that. He is Sharif Ishak from WDSU. Before I get you out of here, LSU-Clemson pick?
Please, for the love of God, do not lose this game. I'm tired of hearing about the regular season opener losing streak. I don't want to lose to the fake Death Valley. I just want to go in there and get a dub, get the season started on the right foot, and head towards the playoffs.
You didn't give me a pick.
I'm going to let's go 31-24 LSU.
We like that. That would be a Happy Hunt post-game show. Happy Hunt column on LouisianaSports.net. Happy Hunt doing a show on Labor Day, which has been a mad hunt on Labor Day for 5 years in a row. So let's try to fix that.
Please do.
We'll talk about the Saints and Cardinals next week. Thanks, man.
You got it, bud.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans. We got one segment to go. We'll play some Take It or Leave It. Get on down the road. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Saw my guy Brian Haldane in the hall today, Talk 107.3. Said, look, I got to call David. I got to redo 2 bathrooms. And they can do that. They can remodel bathrooms in their entirety. That means the vanity. That means the shower. That means the tub. If there's a closet in there, they can handle that. You make one phone call to one contractor. It's One Bath and Closets. David and his team handle everything else. Don't just deal with the guy down the street who you can pay some cash to that's going to show up and probably knows what he's doing because he's been around the neighborhood a while. No, get a company that's been doing this for 3 decades. Get someone that's licensed, bonded, insured, that's going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. If you want pictures of their fantastic work, go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. You'll see the customized closets they do. You'll see the amazing vanity work that they've done. If you live in a house that's 20, 25 years old that's never had any work done in the bathroom, it might be time to get that done. Call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets or check him out online, onebathandclosets.com, onebathandclosets.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
Just thinking about this earlier today. We have not talked to Garrett Nussmeier since fall camp began. And we have done interviews probably 7 or 8 times, and not gotten the quarterback yet. I would have to think that changes tonight.
Yeah, I would think so.
They brought him out for Ole Miss last year for sure. I think after A&M they actually brought him out. So it's not an every week thing. When I was covering the team 11, 12, 13, they always brought the quarterback. Like every week, Mettenberger had to come talk. Every week, Jarrett Lee or Jordan Jefferson talked. Has not happened this time around. We'll see. We get a little Garrett Nussmeier. He's a really good quarterback. Always says the right things. Rarely says something interesting at all.
Coach's son, Hunt. He was coached up since child.
He's got that. We were trying. I actually wasn't me. It was the TV guys last year. Were trying to get him on like, hey, you feel like you gotta, play well against Jackson Dart and Ole Miss? It's not Jackson Dart against Garrett Nussmeier. It's LSU against Ole Miss. Like, just not. But the only time he really said something that got people going was when he was at the Manning Passing Academy. And he said that A&M's crowd was not nearly as loud as Tiger
And that
State.
wasn't like an official, interview with the team or anything. That was kind of just like a side.
Get the guard down in what's that, June or is it July? I think it's July.
July.
Yeah, you get the guard down. You're not on your P's and Q's. Not like he was at media day, and then like he might be tonight if we get him. But we're gonna have Have player interviews tonight. Get one chance to chat with the guys before they head to Clemson. Curious to see what they have to say. And we'll have some stuff written up on LouisianaSports.net tomorrow morning. This is going to be one of the biggest days in LouisianaSports.net click history with all the big-time news with the Saints. They had some cuts. They had some trades. Named a starting quarterback. I've got a piece up there right now talking about LSU and why they've lost 2 consecutive openers. I know it's been 5, but the 2 most recent I felt were the ones that had the biggest parallels to this upcoming game. So I talked about it. Also talked about that at the top of the show. So if you want to go check that out, you can for free, as always, over at LouisianaSports.net. Let's close it out with some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. It's almost time to crack open a cold one and watch the Tigers. If you're planning on doing that, you need to go by and pick up some cold pops for the whole crew that's coming over. Highly suggest giving Flight by Yingling a try. Wherever you buy your alcohol to bring away, Flight by Yingling is going to be there. From America's oldest brewery, there in Pottsville, PA. 95 calories, all the flavor you're looking for delicious beer. I'll be having some Flight by Yinglings this weekend, probably after the game, considering I got the post-game show. But looking forward to that. You should as well. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one, Hunt. It is official. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Wow,
they
first
have
one, huh?
announced their engagement. Hunt. Travis got down on one knee. Looks like a nice little garden area. The ring is quite large. Not sure about the design of it, but it is, of course, expected to be very large. Hunt is folding his papers right now. He doesn't look very enthused about this. I'm sure he's really excited to talk to his wife about this. So
I got a text. It was in all caps.
Yeah, talking to the wife about this later today. Take it or leave it.
Leave it. She's texting me out of control. She's a nurse practitioner. There are children in this market who have ear, nose, and throat issues that need to be taken care of, and she can't do it because she's freaking out about someone she's never met and doesn't know getting married.
That's true.
Maybe getting married.
That's true. Actually, they're just engaged.
Where did you propose?
Actually, in Grand Isle.
Grand Isle, very nice. I was in the kitchen at the old house, which was being repainted, so there were drop cloths and buckets of paint everywhere.
Oh, nice.
She sent me the picture.
Did you have a photo? Did you get a photo of it?
It was just us two. So
okay,
no,
that would have been pretty funny if you'd got a nice little photo.
She sent me the picture of those two getting engaged. Said I don't see a paint bucket anywhere.
Yeah,
so
there's nothing hanging up on the walls to prevent paint from getting anywhere.
Drop cloths everywhere, ladders all over the place.
That's a real romantic thing right there, Hunt. That was a nice job.
It was not planned, but we got the kitchen painted and they didn't finish in time, and they were coming back the next day. I was like, well, so I called my mom. I was like, do I need to get a hotel room and move this operation? She was like, probably not. So we did. Yeah. So try that, Trav. Deal with some adversity. Have somebody paint your house.
Exactly. It's too perfect, man.
I'm not stunned because it's all these girls care about is Taylor Swift, but caring about the love interest of someone you don't even know blows my brain. Who cares?
Well, Hunt, you're a man, so it's hard to understand, you know. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Melissa said she was crying.
Last one.
Very reasonable.
That's reasonable. Yeah. Last one here. The San Francisco Giants are going to host the New York Yankees to start the season next year. As long as is the lockout will be after next year, or will it be? Is the lockout going to be
after next year?
Okay. So we will have this game.
Yes.
It will be on March 25th, the earliest opening day we've ever had, besides the international games,
Japan games that we lose.
Yeah, exactly. But starting the season March 25th. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Started early. I'm ready to go by that time to watch.
That's
baseball.
true. It really is.
I'm all in. I looked at the Cubs schedule. When I look at now with Jay Johnson rolling, I feel like I got to work all the way through June for sure. So I can't book a Chicago trip then. And then you've got July where there's media days in the middle of it, and then August is camp. I'm pigeonholed into 2 weeks.
Tough.
I could potentially go watch the Cubs.
Very tough.
I don't think I'm going to go next year. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. I think Alyssa and I are doing a big 5-year anniversary trip, so that's not going to be
5-year anniversary trip to Chicago, huh?
No, I would much rather go to Chicago than Europe, but it sounds like it's probably going to be Europe. Chicago is much better than Europe. I would rather go there. But it is what it is. So,
Real quick, one more actually. I saw this yesterday. Cal Raleigh hit his 50th homer, joining Mickey Mantle as the most home runs by a catcher.
Switch hit.
Yeah, by switch hitter. Sorry, Cal Raleigh MVP consideration. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I mean, he's not going to win.
I'll take it.
But
He's not.
No.
It'll be Aaron Judge.
It'll be Judge.
Yeah.
Skeens is going to win the Cy Young. Zach
He
Wheeler's
will.
out for the year, so that's going to do it for him. But yeah, it's awesome stuff for the big dumper. He's very good at hitting baseballs far, and he can hit 60. He's got to hit 10 in September.
Yeah.
Like maybe less than 10 if he hits
Crazy.
another one this week. Like that's heavy stuff.
Did you see our guy Wilson Contreras though? Not a good scene for him. He got
missed
into,
this.
yeah he got ejected from the game, and
That's not
then
surprising.
yeah, well, not too surprising. He got ejected and then apparently hit one of his coaches with a bat.
Good, Wilson.
Mistakenly, he like threw the bat
Okay.
and hit one of the coaches. But that's
Wilson
a tough
lost
scene
his
for
way
Wilson.
when he shed the Cubs
He
colors.
should have never left. If he never left Chicago, these problems wouldn't be happening for
That's
him.
exactly right. All right, that's it. If you missed any of our show, talk Saints news, Hunt on Saints, talk at LSU. Why they keep losing openers. I talked about it at the top of the show. You can find it at Hunt on LSU. Tomorrow, J.D. Piquel, SEC Power Rankings, and we'll go up to Clemson and preview the Tigers. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. Have a great Tuesday. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater.